What is going on once again? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you once again. Same day, same outfit, of course, you can realize. So this is my second SummerSlam retro review I am recording tonight. I'm home alone all night, so I'm just trying to knock out as many SummerSlam reviews as I can. Also getting my Extreme Rules match card uploaded. Also, that'll probably be uploaded before this video. My previous SummerSlam review get uploaded as well. But yeah, I just got done watching SummerSlam 2005. This is the 18th edition of this SummerSlam Retro Review series. As we're getting closer to the end, as I keep saying, I'm going to do just up to 2016, because I already did a live review of 2017 on this channel, and again, plus also, that was a dumpster fire of a pay-per-view, so I really don't want to watch it again. But yeah, so SummerSlam 2005, going into it, this was a year, John Cena, Batista, we're all getting to the top in WWE as well. I noticed this year also the Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero feud. Unfortunately, this was the year where Eddie Guerrero passed away in November, like about a little under 3 months after this pay-per-view took place. And of course, him and Eddie and Rey had that really great feud between the two of them, just all over the storyline. How it just got to Eddie's head that he could not beat Rey, and he had to go to extreme measures to try to get to a level to beat Rey, pretty much. And the storyline did kind of tie in a little bit, with some real life thing. We also had another feud that kind of started at this pay-per-view. Again, it's not how many times I feel like, WrestleMania or like SummerSlam is not really a place where we have like the first match of like a series of matches. I feel. It can sometimes work. I'm always the biggest fan of it. So like the match that took place with this feud we're going to talk about also later on, it could have been like another pay-per-view, but the circumstances, maybe that's why I did, but it was based off of some real life heat. And tell you what, after seeing this again, I realized if I was in this boat, like why would I want to make this like public and literally make this real? It worked, but I wouldn't feel comfortable making it work. But anyways, I talked enough about it. Let's get right into this. So last year's SummerSlam took place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This year's SummerSlam took place on August 21st, 2005 at the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. So we're now in the nation's capital. A couple of notes also. Actually, I'll get to what these notes when I get to the match. Well, the first one I can really say now, because it has nothing to do with the matches, but Triple H was not present on this show because he was dealing with a minor neck injury. He came back a little bit later on, like October of 2005. I think it was like shortly after his feud with Batista. I don't know if he had, I can't remember anything else going on feud-wise, like after he finished his feud with Batista. I think he had the last match at Backlash, I think it was. Not 100% sure. I think that was their last match, I believe. And I think Triple H went on break for a little bit, and he's wanted to rest for a little because of his neck injury. And a couple other notes I want to make about the show also, of some original plans and, stuff going forward for another superstar as well. But just wanted to get that out there. So we opened up with a short 25-second U.S. title match. It was Orlando Jordan, the U.S. champion, taking on Chris Benoit. Of course, Chris Benoit is like, just off 2004 was the year he was, got his world title run. He never really got like back to the world title picture for the rest of his career. He was supposed to be, the biggest star in the revamped ECW brand that WWE brought back in 2006, which was just a third brand for WWE that just did not work out as well, because it was nothing like, how the levels of like, what ECW was before. But we don't know what happened there with the tragedy and everything in 2007, which we're not going to talk about that. But this match was just 25 seconds. Jordan who was for a while just, the bodyguard, and, the guy who just helped out the heater for JBL. He was U.S. champion. He goes to when a referee's trying to break him off a couple seconds into the match. Jordan sucker punched Benoit, and then Benoit's turn put him gun to his crossface submission. Tapped out for the win. Benoit is U.S. champion again. Cool, everybody popped for it, but it was just a short match that just got the title off of a guy who was meh. Chris Benoit, of course, was awesome, but of course, we can't mention his name because of what happened. So Chris Benoit becomes the United States champion in just a quick 25-second match by getting Jordan to tap out. Backstage, we had Vicky Guerrero trying to talk to Eddie Guerrero about the match he's going to have with Rey Mysterio later on tonight. I'll say, of course, we don't know what the match stipulation was, but I'll save it till later. But, Vicky's trying to, say, hey, I know you're trying to beat Rey. You want to beat Rey, but you're going a little too far at this pretty much. And then, Eddie kind of, I mean, she tells Eddie how, you have a heart of gold and, whatnot, But the fact that she made it seem like that, she mentioned the fact that, Eddie's upset that he can't beat Ray. Eddie went ballistic, said, oh, you think the only guy I could beat Ray? And then gets mad at her, and she walked off. She's pretty much trying to, get Eddie to, like, hey, just leave this between just you and Ray. Don't get his family involved. And because, what the stipulation was behind the match. But I'll wait to share that, a little bit later on when we get close to the match. We'll have one more match to get to beforehand. Because this match, the story behind it. It was Edge with Lita taking on Matt Hardy. So I said last year's SummerSlam, we had Matt Hardy and Kane fighting in a till death to us part match, which the winner was going to marry Lita. Based on that storyline, that's when Matt Hardy had bad knees, and he had been in a relationship in real life with Lita for about 6 years, and again, Matt had a knee injury, so he took time off about, I think, 8 months or so after that. I can't remember how long it was exactly, but during that time, Lita cheated on Matt with Edge, and in the promo, Matt Hardy, mentioned their real life names. Amy, I can't remember what Lita's real last name is, but Amy cheated on him with Adam Copeland, who we all know as Edge. And the way, because this is around the time where internet was still kind of getting up there, whatnot, but spoilers and stuff, people were reading things on the internet were starting to become a little bit more popular. This is where, I think social media, like I think the mid to the late 2000s was where social media, started to really take off and whatnot. I get more, like on the level it is today, I feel, in some ways. But, so because of the way Matt Hardy was acting about, which, Matt Hardy was the babyface, Edge and Lita were the heels. This was also, again, where Edge's main event run for his career really took off as well. He was Mr. Money in the Bank for this pay-per-view. But apparently, because of the way Matt Hardy was acting on Twitter about this, that's what caused him to get fired from WWE for a couple months. And they brought him back. Of course, in the storyline-wise, Edge claimed, he wanted to bring back Matt Hardy to settle this in the ring. Because if they would settle this outside WWE, he knows whatever he would do to him would get him arrested. So it's pretty much a revenge match, and props to him. If this was me, I don't know how I would not want this to be a public view. I mean, it would work for me, but I just wouldn't be comfortable, especially if I knew someone who ever cheated on me, I wouldn't want to see them at all. I would literally just be like, get out of my life. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to see any of this. Get this out. I don't need to see this. I would not want that to be the case. This was probably pretty tough for Matt because he got his heart broken. He dated the girl for 6 freaking years and she cheated on him. Poor guy. But again, it led to the successful heel run for Edge and Lita also. So in the long run, it did work out. But of course, it just sucked for Matt Hardy in real life, especially with what went down with him years later, as we saw in the recent documentary. But anyways, I'm talking a lot about this feud. But the match happened. It only lasted 5 minutes. It was basically a brawl, pretty much. The two of them just beating the hell out of each other, like around the ring. And then, Matt got bloody, but then, the match ended in about 5 minutes by knockout because it just got too far. So the match ended, and of course, people weren't happy about it because they thought they made Matt look like a loser. I mean, I don't know if this is because, Matt got brought back, but he got punished still in some ways for, the way he acted about it, this on Twitter and whatnot. Apparently, it did lead to them having another match at Unforgiven, which I haven't seen the match, so I'm not sure what it is. But I think a lot of fans were a little disappointed because they wanted to see more of it. I mean, my thing was that it looked like, hey, despite the fact that I felt like it was a match that, could have taken place at, the Great American Bash the month before and then lead to, the bigger match for SummerSlam, which is, my thing, even though you don't want to usually give away a match, like a big pay-per-view match, like a big event like SummerSlam, a pay-per-view beforehand. My thing was they could have done something more so then, table set, have, the actual match here at SummerSlam. But the way I looked at it is, hey, the guy who won the girl got away pretty much. I mean, yeah, it could have been better for Matt Hardy, but me, I'd say, still brutal. Still some of what I wanted to see, but short. And maybe I will check out Unforgiven 2005 sometime just to see what actually happened. Because of course, this was a pretty good feud, again, with the real-life storyline behind it. But, so yeah, Edge wins by knockout over Matt Hardy. And then we had this match, the match to talk about before. Eddie Guerrero taking on Rey Mysterio. I think going into this match, I can't remember if it was before or after. Eddie Guerrero was 0-5, 0-6, or something like that, against Rey Mysterio. and it drove him nuts. Like, there were tag team partners, and people started mentioning something about it. They went head to head at WrestleMania, I believe it was, but then Eddie turned heel because it just drove him nuts that he could not beat Rey Mysterio. And because of that, they did how many matches, and then Eddie went far. And like, this is not real, but they tied it into the storyline how Eddie did have some real life addictions and whatnot. I'm sorry, addictions, as Jeff Hardy would say. And they used that to tie into some storyline that apparently Eddie Guerrero owned Rey Mysterio's son Dominic, but gave him up. Now, not in real life, but they tied the addictions thing was real, but they tied that in with the storyline that Eddie owned Rey's son Dominic in real life, but when he had the addiction problems, he gave him up to Rey to raise him pretty much. So they're using Rey's son Dominic to get in this feud, and since Eddie was so obsessed with wanting to beat Rey, he finally just tied that in and pretty much tried to attack Rey just to find a way to bring out weakness in him. So this is what led to this ladder match with a contract with a briefcase in there, and the briefcase had the paperwork of who owned the custody of Dominic, Rey Mysterio's son. So it's a weird stipulation, but it worked to raise this feud to this level it was at. The match happened. It's a pretty good ladder match. I wouldn't say it was one of the best ladder matches, but the emotion behind it was what really got me invested. Dominic got into the ring as he thought Rey was his real father. But then, of course, he's wiggling on the ladder. A little kid like him, however old he was, couldn't move a ladder. So Eddie was upset. He's like, "Why are you doing this to Papa?" And whatnot, and everything. There was a couple times where both of them had their hands on the briefcases, and they're literally down on the ground. They couldn't get up, so they kicked the ladder just to stop them from doing so. They were hanging by the briefcase, and see that the near grabs of it. It's similar to a near fall. The near grabs, you really felt oh, Eddie can be claiming Rey's son. Or, Rey could be keeping his son and whatnot. And then towards the end of the match, Vickie Guerrero came back out. And she came out, and just like the interview before, she was trying to talk Rey out of, making this, about Dominic. Making this just about him and Rey. He just wants to beat Rey. He just wants to prove it. But why go out there to attack his family? And then, it was made to a point where it looked like, Eddie could have won the match. He could have won the match and taken the contract, but Vickie just enough. This is not necessary. You don't need to do this. Don't attack his family. Pushed him off, pushed the ladder, and Eddie fell. Rey got up to win the match, and of course, there was a big embrace, at the end with Rey and his family. Eddie was upset, and unfortunately, this is about 3 months before Eddie passed away, though. And after this, though, was led to them keeping Vickie Guerrero as an on-screen character and becoming, the heel GM she was for most of the late 2000s. The excuse me line and whatnot, which my voice is a little hoarse right now, so I shouldn't say hoarse, but I'm like, I can get the high pitch right now to imitate it. But yeah, it is what led Vickie to be an on-screen character to eventually, be quite effective as well. At times I'll admit she can be a little bit annoying, but it was effective for her run as well. But yeah, it's a great match. Probably match of the night, I felt, in my opinion, Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio in the ladder match for custody of Dominic. Good match there. We then had a match between Kurt Angle and Eugene with Christy Hemme. Why? Last year, Eugene feud with Triple H. Was this just throw another big name onto the card that couldn't get on there, so they picked Eugene. A lot of people were definitely getting sick of the Eugene character by now. Angle got him to beat him by pinfall or whatever to get the victory. Just an average match. We had this backstage segment afterwards, and this is probably why this show got a TV-14 sexual conduct grade, content grade. Well, one, Lita came out there dressed as as she should, a heel should be, a hot looking heel should be. But two, this segment, we had Ashley, Candice, Michelle, and Stacy Keibler washing a limo backstage. Of course, the water's going all over them in bikinis and whatnot, just getting excuses to show off some lady parts and whatnot. And then it revealed to be a president's limo. And then the window rolled down. It was Vince McMahon saying, "Hey, why not?" And the bumper sticker read McMahon for president. I guess he must have did that with them being in D.C. But yeah, there was that. We then had The Undertaker taking on Randy Orton in a rematch from WrestleMania 21. Okay match. Wasn't really... I've seen their match at WrestleMania 21. Their match at WrestleMania 21 was so much better than this. This was kind of decent. But I think the problem was also, Orton lost the match. They wanted to look like Orton was going to be able to win the match, which he won the match. He won the match. Well, I'll get to how he won the match in a second. But Orton was like, going after Undertaker's legs a lot. It looked like he was trying to do like a submission or whatnot, which is weird because Orton has never really had a submission finisher and whatnot, because he's just been known for just the RKO his whole career. The match ended though off of when Orton, there's one point in the match also where Orton tried to hit the tombstone on Undertaker, but it did not work. But then towards the end of the match, some random fan came out of the crowd. We didn't know who it was at first, but then off the distraction, Orton hit the RKO on Undertaker to get the victory. And afterwards, it was revealed that the fan was disguised as Cowboy Bob Orton, Randy Orton's real life father. I believe it would continue the feud down the line where Cowboy Bob Orton was in Orton's corner or whatnot. I'm not sure what the results would happen. But that's what pretty much happened there. Orton wins the match. Could have been better though, because their WrestleMania match was a lot better than this, I thought. So yeah, we got that match, and then the next match was John Cena, the WWE champion, who won the championship off of JBL WrestleMania 21, taking on Chris Jericho. Now, here's the thing. I mean, this match was pretty good. Like, it was probably a good match, B-level match. Good match between, a guy who just reached the main event scene and, more of a veteran, Chris Jericho. The thing was, though, that probably could have made this match a little bit better is it was too predictable. We knew John Cena was going to win because Chris Jericho was getting ready to leave. Because the story behind this was Chris Jericho was supposed to leave about a month earlier because, his contract was about to expire and he felt he needed to take a break. But he pitched this idea for a match against John. And he got it, so he signed another short-term 1 month deal to stay. And I guess, he was pretty much, the story pretty much seemed like Jericho was just representing what since John Cena just got drafted over the Raw, Eric Bischoff was trying to, use Chris Jericho as a guy to hit Cena in the face, hey, things are different over here on Raw and whatnot. So the storyline was all right. The match I thought was good. I feel like it would be a match that you'd see a main event on Raw or whatnot, but it was still, a good match for a pay-per-view, I felt. Cena won, of course. This is around a time where I think people were starting to catch on. Well, I can say this right now, but people, by WrestleMania 22, Cena was definitely starting to get that hate that, he got throughout the years of being the top guy that, wins all the time. The guy the Tom Brady or the Sidney Crosby, whatnot, that level, people say he's just more John Cena, he's good, but people just want to see him lose. It seems like all he would do is win and win and win everything. And it's when something different comes to the table here. This is around the time I think people were starting to get that way about Cena. But Cena gets the win, and the following night on Raw, I think it was Jericho lost in a you're fired match or something like that. And that's the way of writing him off live TV. He didn't come back till late 2007, and then he would go on to have probably one of the best runs of his career in 2008 when his feud with Shawn Michaels, of course. But yeah, good match there for the championship. We then had Batista versus JBL in a no-holds-barred for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was a no-holds-barred match because a month before, Orlando Jordan used a chair and caused disqualification match because why not? But the story actually behind this also, it wasn't supposed to be Batista versus JBL. It was supposed to be Batista taking on Muhammad Hassan. He was supposed to apparently beat The Undertaker at the Great American Bash the month before and give him a championship match. But of course, the controversy behind his character and whatnot, and he wasn't really, working out for WWE with him. So those plans got scrapped. Batista, of course, again won the world title off of Triple H at SummerSlam, at WrestleMania 21 earlier this year, and he was, in the midst of his title reign feuding with JBL. JBL, was just, a heel able to get heat pretty well. The match was okay. I mean, the best spot I liked was towards the end where Batista hit a Batista bomb and people were chanting for one more time. Another bomb Batista hit on JBL. I think he hit off the steps. I can't remember if he did or not, though, to get the win. But the match is this is decent. It could have been better for a no-holds-barred match. They didn't really use weapons that well at all. But it was pretty much the last match of their feud anyways also. So Batista retained the title. Match is decent. That's all I got to say about that. And then we get to our main event. It was the Legend versus the Icon. Hulk Hogan taking on Shawn Michaels. Hulk Hogan got inducted to the Hall of Fame this year. Shawn Michaels pretty much, tried to, coax Hogan out of retirement for one more match. I think they teamed up for 1 or 2 tag team matches. And then a month earlier, Shawn Michaels super kicked Hogan after the match. There wasn't really anything going for Michaels. Like, he didn't really have anything big planned for at the time, so they thought they built to this match between Hogan and Michaels. Hogan was 52 at the time. Hogan was 52. Michael just turned 40. And then, the match prep build, but, Shawn Michaels just wanted to know. He needed to know if he could beat Hulk Hogan. I mean, Michaels, it's still going to be kind of like a face-on-face feud, but Michaels did definitely play a little more of a role as like a heel in this feud, and he definitely cut some of the best promos of his career, people say by now. Hogan accepted the challenge. They had the match. The thing that bothered me about this match a little bit was I felt that, yes, Michaels did sell Hogan's moves well, keep making him look like, the dominating immortal one as he's supposed to be called. But I felt that Michaels oversold just a little bit. I just saw some of the moves didn't look like they were that effective, that Michaels was going blah blah blah, just flying around pretty much. I'm like, that's a little over exaggerating there, HBK. But towards the end of not towards the end of it, but there was one point in the match where Michaels was really beating down on Hogan, even though this was not a no DQ match. I can't remember if it was or not. I don't think it was. There was a chair shot used in there to the head. There was a spot, of course, where Hogan started busting up open and bleeding, whatnot. The two literally just beat the crap out of each other. And Hogan, despite being 52 years old, still went at it really good. It was towards the end of the match where Michaels did hit a super kick on Hogan, and the referee was down and all, tired out. He did a slow 2 count before by the 3, and Hogan kicked out. So I don't know if it was trying to protect the fact that they made sure that Michaels definitely won the match. The count was faster. Well, then again, they were supposed, because rumors have they were supposed to have 2 more matches after this, but Hogan didn't. I think Hogan didn't think they could have them in there in them anymore, despite the outcome of the match. Michaels did kind of cut a promo about Hogan going back to Florida on a jet right afterwards, and he was still there, whatnot. But he was disappointed that the feud didn't continue, but it was the only match that they had in the end. Because I think next year we see Orton and Hogan. I think, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, Shawn Michaels did not win the match, as Hulk Hogan did win the match. And after the match, it looked like Michaels was going to have a post-match assault on Hogan, but he got up and he looked at him and he said, "I needed to know, and I found out." Point out, they shook hands. That's how the show went off the air. Hulk Hogan beat Shawn Michaels in that match. It wasn't a classic. I mean, again, I didn't think it hit the level of classic, but for being a 52-year-old guy and a 40-year-old man, the two of them definitely went at it pretty darn good. I still say I like The Rock and Hulk Hogan a little bit better though than this match, but it was still, a good main event, I felt, for SummerSlam 2005. And that's pretty much the end of the show. Well, if for this show, or review of SummerSlam. I look back on it, I mean, it was a good show. I felt it could have been just a little bit better, though, than it was, but I still enjoyed it. I came out of the show feeling the same way I felt about WrestleMania 26. Like, it was good, but it definitely could have been better than what it was. And that's how I feel about this show. We had like a couple great matches. Again, we had the brawl with Hardy and Edge. We had the match with Guerrero and Mysterio in the ladder match. That was great. Cena and Jericho was pretty good, and Hogan and Michaels, of course, was great also. So I'll give this pay-per-view a B-. It could have been a little bit better because some of their matches were just there, but I still give it a solid B-. Almost a B, but just a solid B- for SummerSlam 2005. So what grade would you give SummerSlam 2005? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you're to click my like and subscribe for more content on this channel, follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. And with that, guys, I'm checking out, and I'll see you guys all there. So till then, guys, have a great night, and peace out, everybody.